in the end, for the elected official, it's all about votes. So whether you're making donations where the banks tend to give a little bit more money than we do, or if you're talking about grassroots activity where we beat them, you all bring your strengths to the table. In the end, credit unions have done a pretty good job, I think, across the country and in our states here in Nevada and California of getting right up to the banks. And in most people's perspective here in Sacramento, are a more able, nimble, and stronger lobbying team than the bankers have been able to put forward.
When you look at it, you mentioned about some of these initiatives. What are some that you've been engaged with on behalf of California, of the California and Nevada leagues, that really proved to be successful initiatives on behalf of credit unions?
Well, we all remember the big battles, HR 1151 at the federal level back in the 90s, where we had to go to war to protect the field of membership rights for credit unions, and that was a battle that we had to win very quickly. We paid some prices in that bill that we're still trying to undo, but nonetheless, that was a major battle where the power of advocacy was driven home, I think, to a lot of people, realizing that if we had not been able to overturn that Supreme Court decision that imperiled our field of membership ability, we would have it would have unraveled the industry. And so it was I think a big eye-opener to a lot of people, knowing that this can be a life or death struggle. And the state side, in the late 90s, we repealed the franchise tax.
Is that we would have return of investment in a little less than 7.5 years. We did it in under 42 months, 44 months. It was amazing. Ooh. Now all that money is being saved, and that money is our members' money. So not only are we providing less expense and we're being environmentally conscious, but we're providing more funds for our members.
Well, that's it. I mean, the more efficient you can be, that's obvious, the more then you can return back to the members. All of us can as financial cooperatives.
Exactly. I'm blessed because I have some very highly qualified and professional staff. I belong to some organizations that I am allowed to participate with that give me a forum to learn about things and to apply those best practices here at WesCorp. One of the things that we pursued was an Energy Star designation, and that basically says that you're within the first 25% of energy efficiency buildings within the country. You do it, it's based on a load analysis, how much heating, how much electrical, how many people, what's the use of the office. But that designation is very important to us. Additionally, we're pursuing LEEDS EB. LEEDS EB is basically leadership in energy and environmental design. And it used to be a program for just new construction, but now they have one.
You said about, well, maybe credit unions across the board should really espouse a green agenda and really go green, and also that the focus be on delivering products or services that could help move organizations or members more into becoming more green. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that's just happening naturally. I think as credit unions look to reignite their commitment to social responsibility, their commitment to their core values, their commitment to serving their communities, I think that's just a natural inclination that more and more credit unions will become green. Mm-hmm. Will pay attention to the environment.
Tell us what you think we are. And if you asked your members to do that, how about your most profitable members to tell you what they thought your definition was? And how about you ask your least profitable members to define that as well? And you take all of that, again, it's not something that you create, it's what they all think you are. So it's the story. So what is that story? Now, does it mean that you can't evolve that brand? Because what you find out is something maybe you don't really want to find out, right? It's going to be a bad news story. What do you do to evolve it? Well, that's where you get your base story and you think, how do I come up with growth strategies that sort of fit with that existing thinking and feeling and concept of who I am, apply those growth strategies and take us to a different place.
So in other words, you have the ability to look at your brand, and if you're not very comfortable for the kind of energy that it's giving off or how it's being perceived, that you as the leader of the organization and your team can really go about doing things to influence that brand.
Absolutely. That's about all you can do. A brand is a brand. You can influence it. You can't control it, right? You can evolve it, but you can't control it. It'll still be the perception of what people are feeling.
Of course, management can always assume the risk that they face if it's not cost-effective to do something about, but at least they're making an informed decision. And then finally, at the top of the pyramid, it is about monitoring. Now, monitoring is just not the responsibility of the examiners or the auditors. Everyone within the organization has some responsibility to monitor the controls in place to ensure that the risks do not get realized. And then up and down this pyramid, you see communication and information. Basically, information is a way reporting to help horizontal as well as vertical communication throughout the organization. So the robustness of your reporting and your communication is essential to make sure that you're always on top of the risk that you're trying to address.
And I would imagine that given the fact that you may have different levels, different quality levels of risk, should also then imply that you would have different levels of controls?
Yes, it's exactly right. Because let's take an example, electronic funds transfers. You don't want a back-end control on something like that because, by the time the money is out the door, it's too late.